Recently, I have a friend, Rick Yancey, who wrote
with me for years. It's a book about my grandmother. It motivated me that day to finish everything and put it all together.
All right, everyone, I'm out here with Rick Yancey, Ricardo Yancey Jr., officially on the clip of you signing it, and then we'll do the interview here. Hey everyone, Eric Malvin, PackBiz CEO, and even though I talk about PackBiz on my call center, I love talking about creativity and photography, doing amazing things outside of work. And recently I have a friend, Rick Yancey, who published a whole entire book, My Best Friend Granny. And we actually went out to the book signing with the kids the other day for his book launch, and he sold out like after 15 minutes. The book just came in the mail last night, and I'm meeting up with him in downtown Phoenix to get him to sign it, and gonna ask him a couple questions on how the book is going. Check it out. All right, everyone, I'm out here with Rick Yancey, Ricardo Yancey Jr., officially on the book title here. And thanks for taking some time to sign the book. But I wanted to ask you some questions because this is your first book, right?
Yes,
and
first book.
I know a lot of business owners are out that I follow, or just people in general. They have a story they want to tell.
Yeah.
They're out thinking, I can't write a book. You didn't go quit your job and write a book.
No,
You've
no.
got your full-time jobs. Tell me, how did you get into this?
So this was something that has been with me for years. It's a book about my grandmother. It's called My Best Friend Granny, and it's about our bond growing up, me and my grandmother, and she was just an amazing person. And my mother was a single parent, and she worked 2 jobs at one time just to make ends meet and keep food on the table and a roof over our head. So while she was at work, it was Granny that was watching me and my sister. She was amazing. So she took us to all our practices. She took us to school. She took us on trips, and we had all types of adventures with her. But yeah, this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And for years, I would tell my grandmother, I'm going to make a book about you, even as a little kid. And it finally happened. And unfortunately, my grandmother passed away in 2017. Even up until that point, I was always like interviewing her, and anytime I would go back home, I would always sit down with her, and she had the best stories. She had the best food, and we had the best adventures together, and I was able to capture that in this book. But that's how it all started, and it just, after a while, after she passed away, it hit me pretty hard, and I was in a little bit of a funk, and I stopped illustrating and writing. And it didn't help with COVID coming along also. While I was at Barnes & Noble with my kids, because I always take them to Barnes & Noble to get a new book after they finish their old one. We were standing there, and I was in the children's book section and just admiring all the other books, because being an artist, I looked at all the different covers, and my kids were getting their books. They came back, and my oldest, Chloe, she was just like, Dad, you could do that book about Granny that you've always talked about. Your book could be up here. And Christopher, my other son, he came up and he was just like, Dad, your book could be up here. Yeah, I could see your book here. It lit a fire under me. And from that point on, I just went back to illustrating and writing. And I'd already had a bunch of illustrations I was sitting on that I needed to finish. And it motivated me that day to finish everything and put it all together. And if it wasn't for my kiddos, it'd probably be sitting on a shelf somewhere just like collecting dust and not see the light of day. But now it's actually not a dream anymore. It's a reality.
What an awesome story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that you were able to find inspiration from your kids.
Yeah.
And I think there's people out there that they're trying to find that inspiration, and maybe they're trying to make that jump. And I think, the kids are what better reason to do that with them. So, you've been I've been following you on Instagram for some time, and I know you've been coming out with the illustrations. Yeah. What came first? Was it like wanting to tell the story, to be an artist? What was the thing that interested you most?
The way it happened was that after I got back into illustrating, I just wanted to showcase my art and create my own page that was strictly with my art. And next thing I know, I'm posting these illustrations, and Instagram and social media is such a great community, and a lot of people just related to them or had interest in them, and they really liked my style, and I was able to show my illustrations to a publisher called Books and Things Publishing, which is my publisher right now. And they liked my work and they liked my style and they could relate to my story. Then it's like it happened overnight. I was published and now we have the book out and people are able to relate to it. And it's a story that not only all people from different backgrounds, different races, different cultures, not only here in the United States, but worldwide can relate to this story if you had a really close relationship with your grandmother. And I'm starting to see like people like get back to me and relate to that stuff, and it's really something special. But yeah, it all started with me just posting my artwork online, and it just was born after that. And next thing you know, I finally have my book together. So it's been a crazy ride so far.
So you said you're starting to get feedback now. You're starting to get comments from the people that are reading the book, buying the book. And what's been the most surprising comment you've gotten so far?
The most surprising one has been basically everybody that has come up to me with a similar story to mine. Mm-hmm. And for example, at the book signing, there was a lady that came up. My son and myself were setting up our table just to get the books ready and get the signing started. And she passed by and she saw like the book sitting there and the cover, and she read the title and she was like, "Hey, I'm a granny." And I was like, "Oh, are you? All right, nice. Happy Grandparents' Day," because the book came out on Grandparents' Day. And she was like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know it was Grandparents' Day." And she just told me, she said, "Tell me about your book." And I told her about my relationship with my grandmother and how she was such a special lady. And she shared her story with me. And we were just like, oh, wow, our stories are similar. And she was very close to her grandmother. Mm-hmm. And here she is as a grandmother, and she still has those memories. She still has those special moments in her memory. And she just sits there and she looks at the book and she's, "I'll take 2. And I was just like, I was not expecting that. And here it is, we haven't even set up our table yet, and she saw this book and she was able to relate to the story. And I think for people to have a physical reaction to it like that, where it's like they see a photo in the book, or one of the illustrations, and they go back to a moment that was special with them and their grandmother. Yeah. And just to have that reaction is just amazing.
Yeah, you're bringing back amazing memories that people had with their grandma. I think almost everyone's had. If you had the fortunate opportunity to grow up with a grandparent, then like that would be. I have, for me, in the Philippines we call them Lola and Lolo and Lola, grandma and grandpa, and so it's just cool. Like I never got to talk to my grandma because she spoke Bisaya. She didn't speak any English. But she lived 90-something years old.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
But it's cool. I'm sure there's stories like that out in the Philippines. Actually, what I want to do, I'm gonna grab a couple of your books. I'm gonna send them out to the Philippines.
Oh my God!
So that there's at least I'll pick up like 5 or 10 copies to send out there.
Dude, that's amazing.
So we can get your story out to the Philippines, because I think they could relate to this story too.
Absolutely.
I know we talked a little bit before that this isn't going to be your first story. I think you've got others in you, and I think now that you've learned the process and you can see, hey, you know what? I could get my book on the bookshelf of Barnes and Noble. Right. What's in the future for you as far as being an author, an illustrator, being creative?
It's all from the success of my best friend Granny. I've always wanted to do adventures with Granny, because my best friend Granny focuses on like little snapshot moments in my memory from my time together with my grandmother. It's all different types of moments, but to focus on one of those moments and just tell the whole story, I think that would be super, super interesting. So Adventures with Granny, hopefully after my best friend Granny. And I have another book that I've been working on that I've been illustrating for the last couple of years now. It's called My Picnic Table Time Machine, which focuses on a picnic table around the same age I was with this book with my grandmother, about 7 or 8. I would go to the backyard and there was this old rickety beat up picnic table, but that thing was my imagination station. I could just go to that picnic table and I could be whoever I wanted to be. I could go wherever I wanted to go. And it was my surfboard, it was my fort, it was my spaceship. It could be whatever I wanted it to be, and it just focuses on imagination and shows kids that you don't really need a tablet all the time in your hands or like mommy's phone. You can actually go outside and let your imagination run wild. But that's what that story's about. And I want to do an audiobook about my best friend Granny and see where that goes. You know, I like narrating, I like doing stuff like that, and to see, and this is just something that I've always wanted ever since I came up with this idea for this book, is just to see like a animated short of my best friend Granny. And I think just to see it off the pages and actually on a screen for people to see and just take that journey with me through my memories of my grandmother, and who knows, it might bring back some good memories to a lot of people there, not just here in Arizona or in the United States, but worldwide. So that's the hope.
All right, thank you for sharing that, because yeah, that's incredible. Like that's incredible what you're working on to help bring more stories out about grannies and that awesome relationship that you could have with someone like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's been something great. And if you notice in the books, the illustrations are basically like Polaroid pictures. They're little snapshots of the memories I had with my grandmother. So if you look closely to the illustration, it looks like the illustration is coming to life. Like the photo, the Polaroid is actually coming to life. And that's what I was aiming for this book, because we took a lot of Polaroids and pictures of our fishing trips and whatever adventures we went on, whether it was like to the zoo or whatever, and we captured those in time. And it's nice that I can go back to that book, because memories fade over the years, especially after somebody passes away, and that's a sad part. But now I have this book where if I want to go back to that moment, to that memory with my grandmother, I can just open a book and turn a page and I'm right back there again. But yeah, it's been an unreal journey so far.
Awesome. I know you're climbing the charts right now on Amazon and some of the different book selling lists. So,
which is unreal, yeah.
To help him climb up the charts further, if people wanted to get a copy of the book or follow you, I don't know if there's places to follow you as an author, how do they find the book? How do they connect with you?
Absolutely. You can follow me on Instagram, Ricardo Yancey Jr. at Ricardo Yancey Jr. to see all my artwork and the journey up until this point dealing with the book, My Best Friend Granny. My Best Friend Granny is now available at Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Amazon, Books A Million, Rakuten, Kobo, all of those avenues. You can reach out and order your copy at either one of those. And let me know how you enjoy the book. Please leave a review. It's very important. I want to see how the book has reached people in certain ways, especially with their relationship with their granny, and that would be super awesome. So I appreciate you, Eric. I appreciate everybody that supported me up until this point, and I'll keep you updated on things to come. But yes, reach out to me anytime at Ricardo Yancey Jr. on Instagram.
And best of luck on the book.
I appreciate it, Eric. Thank you.
Cool. All right.